Chiang Kai-shek was America's man in China. And in 1927, after his Kuomintang army seized control of the city, Shanghai became the drug supermarket of the world. The KMT army was selling opium directly to Chinese triads in America, gangs in cities like Boston, San Francisco, Seattle, and especially New York City.
The United States, since the mid-1920s, had been backing Chiang Kai-shek against a bunch of warlords and against the communists under Mao Zedong.
All through the Roaring '20s, America's surprisingly large amount of opium, morphine, and heroin addicts were being supplied primarily by Chinese gangsters who were protected by the U.S. government, since they were kicking back a percentage of their profits to support Chiang Kai-shek's fight against the Chinese communists.
Indisputable evidence that most of the narcotics that were arriving in the United States were coming out of China. That this was considered more important by the people of the State Department, by Roosevelt and the White House, and by especially the United States military. International drug trafficking was subordinate to the national security interests of the United States. A couple of tons of heroin every year were coming into the United States and going to ghettos.
Remember the Kuomintang and Chiang Kai-shek's name as well, as we will meet them again, and their heroin dealing days were far from over. I talked to author Douglas Valentine, who interviewed dozens and dozens of old-time Federal Bureau of Narcotics agents for his book, The Strength of the Wolf. And they told him the secret, dark, and dirty history of the CIA and federal drug enforcement.
The OSS had an office in New York City. Agents would actually, work as narcotic agents for a couple of months before it would send them overseas. So OSS agents would get experience. It was federal narcotic agents who knew how to run informants. It was federal narcotic agents who knew how to cross borders, how to create false identities. So from the very beginning of the OSS, which is the predecessor to the CIA, it was federal narcotic agents on loan from Harry Anslinger that were integral to the creation of that organization.
You're to set up an intelligence organization which will gather information for an SO operation.
Learning how to deal in the underworld, learning how to beat people up, how to interrogate them, how to abuse them. Because when the CIA goes into a foreign country, the first thing it tries to do is establish contact with the criminal underworld in that country, especially drug traffickers. Because drug traffickers operating in a foreign country know how to smuggle drugs in and out of that country. And the CIA wants to smuggle things in and out of that country.